Here we have the Royal Enfield Classic 500 in its natural habitat, cruising at 50 miles an hour. Ordinarily, if I was on a superbike, you'd be pulling your hair out now, wouldn't you? In these 50 mile an hour restricted zones, these average speed camera BS. But when you're on the Classic 500, it's just chill, baby. Sit behind this lorry. At least it ain't a dustbin, this one. The amount of dust trucks I've been stuck behind lately, and they absolutely honk. Anyway, let's be waffling. Back to the video. So welcome back to the channel, everybody, and this is going to be my 2-year review of the Royal Enfield Classic 500. It was going to be a post-it note review. As you can see, I've probably picked the worst place in the world to do it at the minute. I'm down on the coast and it's super windy. I started putting post-it notes on, probably people thinking I'm an absolute nutter, and yeah, they're probably going to blow off everywhere. So yeah, let's get into this. So when did I buy? This is a 2018 Classic 500 EFI, as you can see there on the engines. This there, EFI 500, single cylinder, absolute beast. Classic 500. For some reason, when I bought it from Superbike Factory, they had it down as a bullet, but and it says that on the V5 as well. Bit weird. So yes, had it when I buy this August 2023, and you're probably thinking, Jim, why did you buy a Royal Enfield Classic 500 when you've got like sports bikes, blah blah blah? Well, if you don't already know, I smashed my arms up in a road traffic collision. I had a head-on crash in a car while I was at work, and so I needed something a bit lighter. So and then you're probably thinking, Jim, well, why did you go for a Classic 500 then? Because they're pretty heavy, and yeah, they are for such a little bike. The engine block, that's probably the heaviest bit on it, and it is pretty heavy, but the weight's all low down, which is pretty good. So when you're actually sat on the bike, you're flat-footed, which is always good. So yeah, and when you're on the move, you don't even notice. If you're moving it around the garage or whatever, then it can be a bit of an issue. But yeah, this is it. Currently, I've not got a garage, so I keep it outside. I put a double bike cover over it, and I've got like a tarpaulin that goes over that, so all the bikes are out there. So, and as you can see, it's not rusted at all. It's got no corrosion on it whatsoever. Yeah, I'll give you a closer up view of it. So the exhaust itself, underneath and behind the shielding here, the exhaust shielding, that was starting to corrode when I noticed, because what I did is when I rode it back, some of these bolts fell out. The Superbike Factory hadn't prepped the bike properly, so I managed to purchase some more bolts, and I've Loctited them in. And but as you can see, if we have a close look at the wheels in that, I covered the bike in ACF 50, which seems to preserve it. That stuff's great. Prevents rust, and it also stops rust. So all good stuff. You can see there, look at that, that's where I caught my bleeding bike cover on it, on the exhaust. I need to get that off. But overall, the condition of the bike is great. I'm more than happy with it. It hasn't corroded, and I generally don't ride it though. I've got to say, I don't ride it in all weathers. So if you're riding it in all weathers, you might have a bit more of an issue. Some of the let's talk about some of the wiring and that, and the electrician looks a little bit tatty. And I'll get into that in a minute, because I did have an issue. So the only issues I've had with the bike, and they've been self-induced, the bike hasn't really let me down. It's been either me or a mechanic has done something, and that's why it's put the bike off the road. So I did nearly have the bike off the road for nearly a year, and that was because, and we'll come around this side, the fuel pump. Now that is a known weakness on these bikes. You can see there's the I don't know if you can see, there's like a little plastic thing that goes into the fuel line here, and my particular one was under pressure and it snapped, and they're like rocking horse to try and get hold of. So the situation was, I put this in for a nut and bolts test at Colchester Kawasaki that are now shut, and when I got the bike back about 2 weeks later, it was leaking fuel. I thought it was overpressure with the fuel cap, so I replaced the fuel cap. I've now got a lockable one. The bike came with one of these ones that just screws on and off, but I bought one of these, so I replaced that, but it was still doing it. And then I went up to I think it's Hayward's up in Cambridgeshire, spoke to the guys there. Why weren't they at school? Spoke to the guys there, and technician, you know, the engineer or technician said, look under the tank, take the seat off, look under the tank, and he said there's probably a pipe that's been kinked. Now I did ask Colchester Kawasaki, I said, did you, when you did the nuts and bolts test, did you lift the tank or anything? They reckon they didn't. Anyway, I had an AA guy come out, we took off the seat, we lifted that, and yeah, lo and behold, it was kinked. That's all it was. However, when the AA guy then put the fuel tank down and put the seat on, that's when that snapped, because the fuel line was under pressure, and putting that back down snapped it, and then that's why I was off the road for nearly like 10 months. Absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, bit gutted with that. The only other thing was my battery let me down, but that was because of my trickle charger. So again, that wasn't charging the battery correctly, and yeah, I went to fuel up and bleeding thing died on me. And the only other issue I've had, fingers crossed, was I had a puncture on the front, and it's great because they're like bicycle tyres, aren't they? I managed to get an inner tube and threw that on the bike, and it's all good. We're back in. So let's have a look. Right, let's have a look at some of these post-it notes. Right, fuel economy. The bike, to be honest, ain't too bad. I can get about 120 odd before the light comes on, which ain't too bad, because in conjunction with how comfortable it is, you do get a bit of a, because the positioning, your lower back, what I do, my lower back starts to play me up, so it's nice to have a bit of a stop and have a bit of a rest. And talking about that, pegs. The pegs are fixed, so if you're not used to that, you just need to be aware when you're stopped or when you're manoeuvring the bike around in the garage and that, because if you go and clunk your shin on that, I'll tell you, then I'll bleed hurt. So yeah, that ain't great. Let's have a look. What else we got post-it note wise? Engine. Yeah, what more can be said? Single cylinder is proven. I mean, what's that, nearly 100 years old now, this engine, and doesn't produce a massive amount of power, but then again, do you really need it? Not on this type of bike. And a lot of people complain about the vibes. Now, as I've had this, so I bought this bike, it had about just over 7,000. I've got now 10,000, nearly 200, and the vibes are kind of like sorted themselves out. When I first got on it, I properly noticed it. The mirrors were vibrating, all the bars would vibrate, everything. But as I've ridden it more and more and more, it's kind of calmed down. You can happily cruise at 60 miles an hour if you have to do dual carriageway work, and yeah, it's not too intrusive. You do notice though, it's the mirrors vibrate like a bugger. And talking about the mirrors, they're not too bad, to be honest. It's the right one I seem to have a bit more of an issue with. You need to do a lifesaver with you. I need to look over, so I might switch those to bar end mirrors, so that could be an option. Yeah, build quality though, yeah, I've got no complaints at the minute. It's been holding up, it's been pretty good. We've already covered comfort, haven't we? I won't do that anymore. Suspension is great, had no issues with that. All been good. What else? The looks of it, I love it in red. This bike looks absolutely amazeballs in red. I do love it, it's cool, it's nice. And what they like to ride, I hear you say, Jim. Well, if you've seen any of my videos, to be honest, they're alright. I mean, I have such a laugh, and I nearly put this, I had it about a couple of weeks, and I nearly put it in a hedge going down some country lanes. And that was because I was having such a blast, and I was looking around, and I took the corner too fast, and yeah, nearly put the bike in a hedge. Went up to this right hand bend now, and I was going a little bit too fast for the right hand bend, so yeah, I had to stand her up and scrub off some speed. Dear oh dear. Yeah, that was close. You go back and have a look at my videos, you'll see that. But yes, it's ride wise, it's great. You can cruise around at 50 miles an hour, no problems whatsoever. It's great around town. What I tend to do is is short shift through the gears, and that seems to work, because if you start to rev it, then you'll notice with the revs it gets pretty intrusive. But all in all, great little bike. I thoroughly recommend them. I've actually driven the 350. 350 is a lot smoother, but I think this has got probably a bit more character. But yeah, 350 is a good bike as well. But the 500, if you can get a 500 these days, yeah, try and pick one up. And it's just no nonsense. It's just no bullshit. You can just ride it. The traffic is in the UK. It's so congested anyway, and you just pooch along. And it's got enough power to overtake, so that isn't an issue either. But yeah, if you've got any questions for me, or any comments or whatever, throw them in the comments bar down below, and if I can, I will answer them. And yeah, that's my review of the Royal Enfield Classic 500, EFI 500. Yeah, very nice. Happy days, puts a smile on my face, and yeah, it's an absolute giggle to ride. And with that being said, I'm going to end this video here. So like I always say on my videos, if you like the videos, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, smash that red subscribe button. And if you are a subscriber, hit the notification bell. That way every time this idiot uploads a video, you can see me in that, you'll get notified. And that, my friends, is Jim Diesel, out. Upgrades. You can get the upgrade the exhausts. You can also upgrade the fueling system. I don't really want a louder exhaust. Louder exhausts are great, but if you're pooching along for any amount of time, it does start to get a little bit annoying. And the only other upgrade that I was thinking about was obviously, like I've already alluded to, was the mirrors. Might swap them out for far end ones. But and as for the engine mods, you can get engine mods, but I don't, to be honest, I can't be arsed. So yeah, sorry about that.